Unit 7 Preferences. Today we are gonna learn how to express preferences and give reasons. For example, which one do you prefer, historic sites or the seaside? I prefer visiting historic buildings because to me they are more beautiful than modern ones. I would rather visit historic sites, to me they are more interesting. When we express preferences, we can use both I prefer visiting and I would rather visit. For example, I prefer visiting Lithuania because it is beautiful, or I would rather visit Lithuania because it is beautiful. Expressing preference. We use prefer to say we like one thing or activity more than another. We can use a prepositional phrase with to when we compare two things or actions. For example, I prefer tea to coffee. We prefer going by ferry to flying. We don't use when after prefer. For example, she prefers books to magazines. We can't say she prefers books than magazines. We can use a to infinite or a ing form after prefer. A to infinitive is more common. She is not keen on coffee, she prefers to drink tea, or she prefers drinking tea to coffee. Mistakes. We use a to infinitive after prefer, not a infinitive without to. I prefer to drive, not I prefer drive. Whenever I have time, I like to read, but I prefer not to read in the evening. Not, but I prefer not to read in the evening. We make comparisons using to or rather than, not just when. A lot of young people prefer computer games to football, or a lot of young people prefer computer games rather than football. Not a lot of young people prefer computer games than football. Activity 1. Which country you prefer visiting? Choose one of these countries and write about it. Subject plus would plus rather plus base verb. I would rather live in a warm country. I would rather go to a different restaurant. We'd rather go on Monday. Not we'd rather to go or we'd rather going. More than half the people questioned would rather have a shorter summer break and more holidays at other times. I'd rather not fly, I hate planes. Activity 2. Think of some examples of what you would rather do. Degrees of comparison. We have an adjective, and if it has one syllable, as cheap, we make it cheap, cheaper, the cheapest. If the adjective has multi-syllable, we make it as fantastic, more fantastic, the most fantastic. Comparison. Comparative adjectives compare one person or thing with another and enable us to say whenever a person or thing has more or less of a particular quality. Josh is taller than his sister. I am more interested in music than sport. Big cars that use a lot of petrol are less popular now than 20 years ago. Superlative adjectives describe one person or thing as having more of a quality than all other people or things in a group. The silver arrow will be fastest train in the world when it is built. The most frightening film I ever seen was Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. What is the least expensive way of traveling in Japan? Watch out. Good, better, the best. Bad, worse, the worst. Far, further, the furthest. Many, more, the most. Now, try yourself to put adjectives in correct form. This is the answers. The best, the most dangerous, the most fluent, the most enjoyable, the hardest, the most enthusiastic.